No one expected Elon Musk to be hiding a secret talent. The tech billionaire built electric cars and rockets to Mars. He posted strange tweets at 2 a.m. and ran multiple billion-dollar companies. But a musician? Never. That's why famed pianist Rafael Montero felt so confident when he publicly mocked Musk at the Music for Tomorrow charity gala. It was supposed to be an easy target, another wealthy businessman who could write checks but knew nothing about real art. Perhaps Mr. Musk would like to prove me wrong, Rafael challenged with a smirk, gesturing toward the grand piano. Show us that billionaires can do more than just write checks? 500 guests held their breath. Cameras flashed. The world's richest innovator stood up from his table. What happened next would change everything. The grand ballroom of Carnegie Hall glowed under crystal chandeliers. Men in black ties and women in sparkling dresses filled the room. Tonight was the annual Music for Tomorrow charity gala, where the rich and famous gathered to raise money for children's music programs. Elon Musk sat at table 7, feeling out of place. He checked his watch. 2 more hours, then he could leave. He'd rather be working on rocket designs or electric car problems, but his assistant had insisted he attend. Mr. Musk donated $1 million, the announcer said from the stage. Polite applause followed. Elon nodded slightly, not wanting attention. Next on stage came Rafael Montero, the night's special guest. At 45, he was considered one of the greatest pianists alive. His fingers had played in every famous concert hall in the world. His black hair showed touches of gray at the temples, and his dark eyes scanned the crowd with confidence. "Thank you all for coming tonight," Rafael began, his Spanish accent smooth and pleasant. "Music changes lives. I know because it changed mine. I grew up with nothing in Barcelona except an old piano and teachers who believed in me." The crowd listened closely. Rafael was known not just for his amazing playing, but also for speaking his mind. Tonight was no different. "But I worry," Rafael continued, his voice growing stronger. "I worry when I see how we value things in today's world. What do we celebrate? Mostly money and technology." His eyes moved across the room until they landed on Elon. Elon felt a sudden chill. Why was the pianist looking at him? "For example," Rafael said with a small smile, "we have Mr. Elon Musk with us tonight. A brilliant man. He builds electric cars and rockets to Mars." People turned to look at Elon, who kept his face calm despite feeling uncomfortable. "Mr. Musk gives money to music programs. Very generous. But I wonder—" Rafael paused. "I wonder if men like him truly understand what music is, what art is. You cannot buy artistic talent. You cannot build it like a rocket." A nervous laugh rippled through the crowd. Was Rafael actually mocking Elon Musk? Making money and making music require very different souls. Rafael continued. "One is about numbers. The other is about feelings. I'm not sure the tech billionaires among us could understand the difference." Elon's jaw tightened. The room had grown uncomfortably quiet. "Perhaps Mr. Musk would like to prove me wrong." Rafael gestured to the grand piano nearby. "Would you like to play something for us, Mr. Musk? Show us that billionaires can do more than just write checks?" The challenge hung in the air. People shifted awkwardly in their seats. Nobody expected such a direct challenge. Certainly nobody expected Elon Musk to actually play the piano. Elon felt hundreds of eyes on him. Part of him wanted to ignore the challenge, to laugh it off. Who did this pianist think he was? But another part of him, a part from long ago, or stirred to life. The silence stretched for 10 long seconds. Then Elon stood up. The crowd gasped softly as he buttoned his suit jacket and walked toward the stage. Was he going to say something? Call out Raphael for being rude? Raphael looked, surprised but held his ground, gesturing again to the piano with a smile that said he'd won this little game. He clearly expected Elon to refuse, to walk away embarrassed. Instead, Elon walked straight to the piano. He sat down on the bench, adjusting it slightly. His heart pounded in his chest. It had been so long since he'd played in front of anyone. Decades, in fact. Would his fingers remember? Would he make a fool of himself? Raphael stepped back, his confident smile fading just a bit. He hadn't expected this. No one had. The ballroom fell completely silent. The waiters stopped serving. The bartenders stopped pouring. Every eye was on the tech billionaire sitting at the concert grand piano. Elon looked at the keys, beautiful ivory and ebony stretching before him like an old friend he hadn't seen in years. He placed his hands in position and took a deep breath. Memories flooded back, long hours practicing as a boy, his mother's encouragement, his teacher's strict counting, the feeling of music flowing through his fingers. He closed his eyes. And then Elon Musk began to play. But as his fingers pressed the first notes, his mind traveled back in time. Back to Pretoria, South Africa, 1978. 8-year-old Elon sat on a hard wooden bench in Mrs. Abrams's living room. The old upright piano had yellowed keys and scratches along its sides, but to young Elon, it was magical. Again, Elon, pay attention to your fingering, Mrs. Abrams said. She was a thin woman, with silver hair always tied in a tight bun. Her voice was strict, but not unkind. Elon nodded and started again. His small fingers worked carefully over the keys. Outside, he could hear neighborhood kids playing street soccer. His brother Kimball had joined them, but Elon had slipped away to his secret piano lesson. Better, Mrs. Abrams nodded. You have a gift, you know. Most children your age cannot focus like you do. Elon didn't respond, but inside he glowed with pride. At school, the other kids called him strange. They didn't understand why he read so much or why he talked about space all the time. But here, at the piano, Mrs. Abrams saw something good in him. After the lesson, Elon walked home slowly, thinking about the new piece he was learning. When he reached his house, his mother May was in the kitchen. "How was it?" she asked quietly. "Good. Mrs. Abrams taught me a new song." May smiled. She was tall and elegant, working as a model while raising 3 children. "I'm glad you enjoy it. Just remember, don't tell Dad," Elon finished for her. They both knew Elon Musk wouldn't approve of the piano lessons. He wanted his son to focus on practical things. "Right," May said, touching his hair gently. "It can be our secret for now." Later that night, Elon lay in bed thinking about the piano. He loved how the music made sense in a way people often didn't. Each note followed rules. Practice made you better. It was like a perfect math problem that created something beautiful. 3 months later, Elon's father discovered the lessons. "Piano?" Elon Musk's voice boomed through the house. "What good is piano going to do him? Engineers don't need to play Beethoven." "It helps with brain development," May argued, "and he enjoys it." "I'm not paying for it anymore," Errol said, firmly. That night, Elon cried silently in his room. The next day, Mrs. Abrams offered to teach him for free. "Your mother told me what happened," she said. "I've never seen a student with your focus. We'll find a way." And they did. For the next 4 years, Elon continued his lessons in secret. Sometimes he paid with money earned from selling computer games he created. Other times, Mrs. Abrams simply taught him because she believed in his talent. By 12, Elon could play pieces most adults struggled with. His favorite was Debussy's Clair de Lune. Something about its gentle start that built into flowing emotion matched how he felt inside. Quiet at first, but with deep feelings underneath. This piece is about moonlight, Mrs. Abrams explained, about how it touches everything softly, making the ordinary world seem magical. Elon practiced it until his fingers knew every note by heart. When things were bad at school or at home, he'd close his eyes and play the piece in his mind. When Elon turned 14, Mrs. Abrams got sick. Cancer, his mother explained softly. The lessons stopped. 3 months later, she died. At the small funeral, Elon stood stiffly in his too-short suit. He wanted to play something for her, but couldn't bring himself to touch the piano at the church. Instead, he held the music book she had given him, with Clair de Lune and her notes written in the margins. Remember, music is mathematics with soul, she had written inside the cover. 2 years later, Elon decided to leave South Africa. At 17, he moved to Canada to live with relatives, carrying almost nothing with him. The music book stayed hidden in his suitcase. In Canada and later in America, Elon focused completely on his education and then his businesses. Computers, the internet, electric cars, space rockets. His mind raced from one big idea to the next. But sometimes, when no one was around, when the pressure of work became too much, Elon would find a piano in empty hotel ballrooms, in the corner of a university music room. Once, he even bought a small keyboard that he kept in his office closet. He would play Clair de Lune and remember Mrs. Abrams. Remember the feeling of being 8 years old and discovering that his fingers could create something beautiful. As the years passed and his companies grew, these moments became rarer. The world knew Elon Musk as many things: entrepreneur, engineer, sometimes controversial Twitter user. No one knew him as a pianist. That part of himself he kept private, like a secret friend from childhood, until tonight. As the first notes of Clair de Lune filled Carnegie Hall, Elon's mind returned to the present. His fingers moved across the keys, finding their places from muscle memory long buried but never truly forgotten. The piece started softly, just as Mrs. Abrams had taught him all those years ago in Pretoria. Gentle, like moonlight. In the audience, Rafael Montero's smug smile had completely vanished. His mouth opened slightly in shock as he watched Elon's hands glide over the keys with the confidence of someone who had played for years. The crowd sat in stunned silence. This was not the awkward attempt they had expected. This was not a businessman pretending to be an artist. This was music. Real music. As Elon reached the middle section of the piece where the notes flowed faster and with more emotion, he felt something he hadn't felt in years: the pure joy of playing. Not for business, not for money, not to impress anyone, just for the beauty of it. And for a moment, he was that 8-year-old boy again, sitting at Mrs. Abrams's scratched piano in Pretoria, discovering that his hands could create magic. And for a moment, he was that 8-year-old boy again, sitting at Mrs. Abrams's scratched piano in Pretoria, discovering that his hands could create magic. But in reality, Elon Musk's life had become very different from that of the dreaming boy in South Africa. Just 14 hours before the charity gala, Elon had been at the SpaceX factory in Hawthorne, California. The massive building housed rocket engines and spacecraft parts. Workers in blue uniforms moved carefully around the expensive equipment. "Mr. Musk, "We need a decision on the new heat shield design," said Anna Chen, one of his top engineers. She handed him a tablet with technical drawings. Elon studied the screen, his eyes barely blinking. This was his normal world now. Numbers, designs, problems to fix. "Try this instead," he said, using his finger to change the drawing. "It'll be lighter and cheaper." Anna nodded. "I'll get the team working on it." Elon moved through the factory, stopping to check different projects. He touched the metal skin of a rocket being built. Someday, this machine would carry people to Mars. He was sure of it. His phone buzzed. It was a text from Tesla's factory in Austin, something about the new battery design. Then another message about a meeting with investors. Elon sighed. His mind was always split between too many important things. "You have that charity event in New York tomorrow," his assistant Jade reminded him when he returned to his office. She was organized and patient, somehow keeping track of his crazy schedule. "Do I have to go?" Elon asked, already knowing the answer. "Yes. You promised months ago. Music education for underprivileged kids." Elon nodded. He did care about education. And music too, though nobody knew that part. "Fine. The plane leaves when?" "In 3 hours. And you have 2 video calls before then." This was his life now. Always rushing. Always solving problems. Sleep was a luxury he rarely enjoyed, usually getting just 4 or 5 hours a night. His friends often told him to slow down, but there was too much to do. Too many big dreams to make real. The world saw him as a tech genius, and sometimes as a strange billionaire who said unexpected things on social media. People made jokes about him. News sites wrote stories analyzing everything he did. Many admired him. Others criticized him. But nobody really knew him. Nobody knew about the piano. On his private jet to New York that night, Elon tried to work, but his mind kept thinking about the charity event. Music for tomorrow. The name brought back memories he usually kept locked away. "You should get some sleep, boss," said his security guard, noticing how tired Elon looked. "Soon," he replied, though they both knew he probably wouldn't. Instead, Elon stared out the window at the darkness, remembering Mrs. Abrams's voice. Music is mathematics with soul. The next morning in New York, Elon attended 3 meetings before the charity gala. His mind raced with thoughts about electric car production problems, rocket launches, and artificial intelligence safety. "Not in the neural implant team needs your feedback on the new prototype," Jade told him between meetings. Elon nodded, his thoughts already jumping ahead to next week's big satellite launch. "And there's a reporter asking about your tweet last night about quantum computing." That made Elon smile slightly. He had posted a joke about quantum physics at 2 a.m. Millions of people had seen it. Some thought it was brilliant. Others thought it was strange. That was normal for him now. When he arrived at his hotel room to change for the gala, Elon stood by the window looking at the New York skyline. Tall buildings reached toward the sky like rockets. So many lights. So many people. His companies employed thousands of them now. "Your tuxedo is ready, sir," the hotel staff member said, hanging up the perfectly pressed black suit. "Thank you," Elon replied quietly. As he changed clothes, Elon thought about how far he had come from that boy in Pretoria. Now he built spaceships and electric cars. His decisions affected global markets. Presidents and prime ministers took his calls, but sometimes in rare quiet. Moments like this, he missed the simplicity of sitting at a piano with nothing to worry about except getting the notes right. By the time Elon arrived at Carnegie Hall that evening, his mind was back on work. He nodded politely to celebrities and business leaders who greeted him. He answered questions about the latest Tesla model. He avoided reporters who asked about controversial topics. No one mentioned music. No one asked if he had any hidden talents. Why would they? The world knew what Elon Musk was good at, and it wasn't art, or so they thought, until Rafael Montero challenged him on stage, until Elon sat down at the piano, until his fingers began playing Clair de Lune in perfect flowing notes. Chapter 4. Rafael's Journey Until the Tech Titan Revealed. Something no one had ever seen before. But to understand why Rafael Montero was so shocked by Elon's playing, we must learn Rafael's own story. Rafael grew up in the narrow streets of Barcelona's old quarter, El Born. His family's apartment was small and crowded above his father's shoe repair shop. They weren't poor enough to go hungry, but there was never money for extras, except for the piano. The old upright piano had belonged to Rafael's grandmother. It was the one valuable thing the family owned. When Rafael was 5, he discovered he could make it sing. "He has a gift," his mother told neighbors proudly. She worked long hours cleaning houses, but always found energy to take Rafael to piano lessons. His first teacher, Mr. Vidal, was strict but fair. "Playing is not enough," he would say. "You must practice until your fingers bleed, then practice more." So Rafael did. While other children played soccer in the streets, he practiced scales and arpeggios, hour after hour, day after day. By age 10, Rafael won his first competition. The prize was small, just €50, but his picture appeared in the local newspaper. His father framed it and hung it in the shoe shop. "Now customers ask about my son, the pianist," his father said with pride. But the real turning point came when Rafael turned 13. A famous music school in Madrid offered him a scholarship. It meant leaving home, living in a dormitory with other young musicians. "You must go," his mother insisted, though tears filled her eyes. "This is your chance." Madrid was hard at first. The other students came from wealthy families. They had been taking lessons since they were toddlers. They wore nice clothes and talked about summer homes. Rafael had none of that. What he had was determination. He practiced longer than anyone else. He played until his back ached and his fingers cramped. While others went to parties, Rafael stayed with his piano. His teacher at the Madrid school, Maestro Domingo, saw something special in him. "You play with hunger," he told Rafael. "The rich kids play notes. You play feelings." At 18, Rafael entered the international piano competition in Brussels. He wasn't expected to win. He was too young, too unknown. But when he played Chopin's revolutionary etude, something magical happened. The audience felt his passion, his years of sacrifice. Rafael won first prize. Overnight, he became a sensation. "Spanish prodigy stuns music world," read the headlines. Concert halls across Europe wanted him to perform. Record companies offered contracts. His parents flew to Brussels for his winning performance, their first time on an airplane. His mother cried when she heard him play. His father, usually so quiet, hugged him tightly afterward and whispered, "You did it, my son." Over the next 20 years, Rafael played in the world's greatest venues: Royal Albert Hall in London, the Sydney Opera House, Carnegie Hall in New York became a favorite. He performed there every season. Critics praised his technical brilliance and emotional depth. Fans waited hours for his autograph. He recorded albums that sold millions of copies. He won every major award. Rafael never forgot where he came from. He started a foundation to help talented poor children get music education. He returned to Barcelona often to visit his parents, who still lived above the shoe shop despite the money he offered them. "This is home," his father would say simply. As Raphael entered his 40s, he became known for speaking his mind. He criticized governments for cutting arts funding. He scolded wealthy patrons who treated classical music as a fashion accessory rather than a passion. "True art requires sacrifice," he often said in interviews. "It takes a lifetime of dedication." I particularly disliked how the new tech billionaires threw money at the arts without understanding them. They built concert halls named after themselves, but couldn't tell Mozart from Beethoven. So when Raphael saw Elon Musk at the Music for Tomorrow charity gala, he saw just another rich tech guy who probably thought he could buy his way into any world. Another businessman who knew nothing about real art or the sacrifice it required. Raphael couldn't have been more wrong. As Elon's fingers moved across the piano keys with unexpected grace, playing Debussy with genuine feeling, Raphael felt his jaw drop. His carefully prepared speech about billionaires suddenly seemed foolish. His judgment about Elon Musk crumbled with each perfect note. The man playing the piano was not just a tech billionaire. He was a true musician, and Rafael Montero had no idea what to do about it. But the story of this surprising performance actually began the night before the charity gala. Elon arrived at his hotel in Manhattan after a long day of meetings. The Plaza Hotel stood grand and tall at the corner of Central Park, its golden doors welcoming the world's richest and most famous visitors for over 100 years. "Good evening, Mr. Musk," said the hotel manager, greeting him personally. "Your usual suite is ready." Elon nodded tiredly. It was already 10 p.m., and his mind was still racing with thoughts about rocket engine designs and production problems at the Tesla factory in Texas. The suite was large and elegant, with a view of the park. Elon placed his laptop on the desk and checked his phone for messages. There were 53 new emails and 17 text messages, all marked urgent. He sighed. Sleep would have to wait, as usual. After 2 hours of answering emails, Elon stood and stretched. His back hurt from sitting too long. His eyes felt dry from staring at screens all day. He walked to the window and looked out at the city lights. New York never slept. Just like him. Something about the view made him think of music. Perhaps it was the rhythm of the traffic below, or the pattern of lights in windows across the park. Without really planning to, Elon found himself thinking about Clair de Lune. He hadn't played it in months. His fingers twitched slightly as they remembered the notes. On impulse, he picked up the hotel phone. "Front desk," answered a polite voice. "This is Elon Musk in Suite 1214. I was wondering, do you have a piano I could use?" There was a pause. "The grand piano in our ballroom is being used for an event, sir. But we might be able to find something else. Let me check." 20 minutes later, there was a knock at his door. 2 staff members wheeled in a digital keyboard on a stand. "It's not a proper piano, Mr. Musk," apologized the manager, "but it's the best we could do at this hour." "It's perfect," Elon said, surprising himself with how much he meant it. "Thank you." After they left, Elon stared at the keyboard. It had been so long. Would his fingers even remember? He sat down and turned it on. The keys felt different from a real piano. Lighter, less resistance. He played a simple C scale. His fingers were stiff at first, like they had forgotten their old job. But then, like riding a bicycle after many years, the memory returned. He began to play Clair de Lune slowly. He made mistakes at first, hitting wrong notes, losing the rhythm. He started again. This time was better. And the next time, better still. As midnight passed, then 1 a.m., then 2 a.m., Elon lost himself in the music. The world of business and technology faded away. There were no rocket launches, no car factories, no artificial intelligence problems to solve. There was only the music that had comforted him as a lonely boy in South Africa. He played Clair de Lune over and over. Each time, his fingers grew more confident, remembering the paths they had traveled thousands of times before. Outside his window, the city continued its nighttime dance of lights and shadows, but Elon noticed none of it. His mind was far away, floating on Debussy's gentle notes. At 4 a.m. he finally stopped, surprised to find tears in his eyes. Why was he so emotional? Was it the memories of Mrs. Abrams, the pressure of his complicated life, or simply the beauty of the music itself? He didn't know, but he felt different somehow. Lighter, as if some tight knot inside him had loosened just a bit. Elon finally went to bed at 4:30 a.m., sleeping just 3 hours before his first morning meeting. He left the keyboard set up in his suite. Perhaps he would play again after the charity gala. He had no idea that the very next night he would be playing Clair de Lune, not in the privacy of his hotel room, but on stage at Carnegie Hall. He had no idea that his secret talent would soon be a secret no more. He had no idea that Rafael Montero would challenge him in front of hundreds of people. And he certainly had no idea how playing the piano would change everything. The music for tomorrow's charity gala at Carnegie Hall was the biggest music education fundraiser of the year. By 6 p.m., limousines lined the street outside the famous concert hall. Photographers called out to celebrities as they walked the red carpet. "Over here! Look this way!" Camera flashes lit up the evening as movie stars, musicians, and business leaders posed in expensive clothes. Some stopped to answer reporters' questions about why music education mattered to them. Inside the grand lobby, 500 guests mingled before dinner. Women in long dresses and men in tuxedos sipped champagne. A string quartet played softly in the corner. The air smelled like flowers and expensive perfume. "We've raised over $2 million already, just from ticket sales," said Jennifer Liu, the event organizer. She wore a red dress and moved quickly through the crowd, making sure everything was perfect. And the auction items should bring in at least another $1 million. At the center of the lobby stood a display of auction items: a guitar signed by famous rock stars, a chance to conduct the New York Philharmonic for one song, and lunch with Rafael Montero himself. "Where is Rafael?" Jennifer asked her assistant. "He should be here by now." "His car just arrived," the assistant said, checking her phone. "And Elon Musk is already at table 7. Jennifer looked relieved. Having both Rafael and Elon at the event would definitely help raise more money. Rafael was beloved in the music world, and Elon's presence always created buzz, especially after his $1 million donation. At 7 p.m., the guests moved into the main hall for dinner. The stage where famous musicians usually performed now held 30 round tables covered in white tablecloths and decorated with blue and silver flowers. Soft lights made everything glow. At table 7, Elon Musk sat quietly, checking his phone between courses. He nodded politely when people stopped by to say hello, but didn't join the loud conversations around him. Few people noticed that he seemed more tired than usual, or that his fingers occasionally tapped the table as if playing invisible piano keys. At the main table sat Rafael Montero, talking with the mayor of New York and the head of the city's education department. Rafael looked elegant in his perfectly fitted tuxedo, his dark hair neatly combed, his smile confident. "Music saved my life," he told them. "Every child deserves the chance to discover if it might save theirs too." The three-course dinner was served by waiters in black and white. First came a salad with goat cheese and walnuts. Then roasted chicken with vegetables grown by students in a school garden program. For dessert, chocolate cake decorated with blue musical notes made of sugar. As people ate, a video played on large screens around the room. It showed children from poor neighborhoods learning to play instruments. Their faces lit up when they mastered new songs. Teachers explained how music helped students do better in all subjects. Music teaches discipline and teamwork, one teacher said. It gives kids a safe place to belong. The video ended with a young girl playing violin on the very stage of Carnegie Hall, her small face serious with concentration, then breaking into a huge smile when she finished, and the audience cheered. Many guests wiped away tears. Checkbooks appeared on tables as people decided to donate even more. After dinner, Jennifer Liu took the stage. "Thank you all for coming tonight," she said into the microphone. "Because of your generosity, thousands of children will discover the joy of music this year." The crowd applauded. Jennifer continued, "We have raised over $3 million so far. And now, I'm honored to introduce our special guest. Please welcome the amazing Rafael Montero." The applause grew louder as Rafael walked to the center of the stage. He waited for the room to quiet before speaking. "Music has been my life's companion," he began in his Spanish-accented English. "From the narrow streets of Barcelona to the great concert halls of the world, music has given me everything." The audience listened closely. Rafael was known for moving speeches almost as much as for his playing. "I was lucky. My parents sacrificed so I could learn piano. My teachers saw potential in a poor boy and gave me extra lessons. But many children never get these chances." He paused, looking around the elegant room. "Many of you here tonight have been very generous. You write big checks, and that matters. It truly does. Your money buys instruments and pays for teachers. But I wonder, how many of you truly understand what music is?" The room grew quieter. Raphael's voice became more passionate. "Music is not a hobby. It is not an extra. It is a language that speaks when words fail. It requires total dedication, complete surrender." He walked slowly across the stage, making eye contact with people at different tables. In today's world, we worship technology. We celebrate those who build rockets and electric cars. We make heroes of the ones who create the newest app or social media platform. Some people shifted uncomfortably in their seats as Raphael continued. "Don't misunderstand me. These innovations are important. But a society that values only technology and money is a poor society indeed. Our souls need art as much as our bodies need food." That's when Raphael's eyes landed on table 7. "On Elon Musk, for example," Raphael said with a slight smile. "We have Mr. Elon Musk with us tonight, a brilliant man who builds amazing things." Elon looked up from his phone, suddenly aware that all eyes had turned to him. Mr. Musk generously supports music education. For that, we thank him. But I wonder if men like him truly understand the soul of music? The lifetime of discipline it requires? The crowd grew tense. Was Raphael really challenging one of the world's richest men? Perhaps Mr. Musk would like to prove me wrong. Would you like to play something for us? Show us that billionaires can do more than just write checks? The silence that followed felt endless. Elon's face remained calm, but his heart pounded. He hadn't planned for this. He had practiced last night, yes, but that was private. Different, yet Something in Raphael's challenge sparked that same feeling he'd had as a boy in South Africa, the need to prove himself, to show that there was more to him than people assumed. Elon stood up. The crowd gasped softly. He walked toward the stage, where a beautiful grand piano waited. Raphael looked surprised, but stepped aside. Elon sat down at the piano bench, adjusted it slightly, and placed his hands on the keys. The entire room held its breath. And then, for the first time in public, Elon Musk began to play. The first notes of Clair de Lune floated through Carnegie Hall, gentle as a whisper. Elon's fingers moved slowly, carefully, finding each key with perfect precision. The famous piece began exactly as Mrs. Abrams had taught him long ago, soft, like moonlight touching water. The beginning was simple, almost hesitant, just like Elon felt inside at this moment. In the audience, people exchanged confused glances. Was this really happening? Was Elon Musk actually playing the piano? And playing it well? At table 9, a famous actress whispered to her husband, "I had no idea he could play." "Neither did anyone else," her husband whispered back, equally surprised. Rafael Montero stood at the side of the stage, his confident smile now completely gone. His eyes narrowed as he watched Elon's hands. He was looking for mistakes, waiting for the moment when the tech billionaire would stumble or miss a note. But that moment didn't come. Instead, something unexpected happened. As Elon reached the middle section of the piece, where the music becomes fuller and more emotional, his initial nervousness melted away. The hundreds of watching eyes no longer mattered. The challenge that had brought him to the piano was forgotten. There was only the music now. His fingers moved faster, with more confidence. The notes flowed one into another like a stream becoming a river. His body swayed slightly as he played, feeling the music rather than just performing it. In the third row, Jennifer Liu, the event organizer, had her hand pressed against her mouth in shock. This wasn't in the program. This wasn't planned. But it was magical. Elon closed his eyes. He didn't need to see the keys anymore. His fingers remembered the path from thousands of hours of practice long ago, and from his late-night session just hours before. The music swelled as it reached the most beautiful part of the piece. Debussy's notes cascaded like sparkling water, filling every corner of the famous hall. The acoustics of Carnegie Hall were perfect, designed to carry even the softest note to every listener. And Elon's playing deserved such a space. Though he wasn't a professional pianist, there was something real and pure in how he played. Something honest. In the back of the hall, waiters stopped clearing plates. Security guards stood motionless by the doors. Everyone was caught in the spell of this unexpected moment. Raphael's face changed as he listened. His surprise turned to confusion, then to reluctant admiration. He was a master pianist himself, trained at the world's best schools. He knew that what he was hearing wasn't just good for an amateur, it was genuinely beautiful playing. How was this possible? How could this tech CEO, this businessman who built rockets and electric cars, play with such feeling? As the piece continued, moving toward its gentle conclusion, Raphael found himself studying Elon's technique. His hand position was unusual, not quite what classical teachers would recommend. Yet it worked. His tempo was slightly slower than traditional interpretations, but it gave the piece a dreamlike quality that suited it perfectly. This wasn't just someone who had taken a few piano lessons. This was a person who had spent years practicing, who understood music from the inside. In each way, the audience, phones had appeared. People recorded this unbelievable moment. Tomorrow, Videos would spread across the internet. The world would see this unexpected side of Elon Musk. But Elon noticed none of this. He was lost in the music, in memories of Mrs. Abrams's living room in Pretoria, in the feeling of creating something beautiful just for the joy of it. As he played the final section, the notes became softer again, like moonlight fading before dawn. His fingers moved more slowly, letting each sound linger in the air. The last notes were the softest of all, 3 simple chords that seemed to float away rather than end. Then silence. Complete, absolute silence filled Carnegie Hall. No one moved. No one even seemed to breathe. Elon opened his eyes, suddenly aware again of where he was and what he had done. For a moment, doubt flooded through him. Had he made a mistake by accepting Raphael's challenge? Would people laugh? Would this become just another strange Elon Musk story for the internet to mock? The silence stretched for 1 second, 2 seconds, 3. Then, from somewhere in the back, a single person began to clap. Another joined in, then another. Suddenly, the entire hall erupted in applause. People rose to their feet. Some wiped tears from their eyes. It wasn't just applause for a good performance. It was the sound of 500 people realizing they had completely misjudged someone, that the person they thought they knew had depths they never imagined. Elon remained seated at the piano, unable to move, overwhelmed by the response, and Rafael Montero, the man who had mockingly challenged him just minutes ago, did something no one expected. He walked across the stage toward Elon. The audience watched, still applauding, as Rafael Montero approached the piano. His face was difficult to read, a mixture of shock, confusion, and something that might have been respect. Elon stood up from the piano bench, unsure what to expect. Would Raphael criticize him? Make another joke at his expense? Instead, Raphael extended his hand. "That was unexpected," Raphael said, his voice just loud enough for Elon to hear over the applause. "And beautiful." Elon shook his hand. "Thank you." The 2 men stood there for a moment, the famous pianist and the tech billionaire, as camera flashes lit up the hall. Tomorrow, this image would appear in newspapers and on websites around the world. Jennifer Liu hurried to the microphone. "Well, I think we can all agree. That was quite a surprise. Thank you, Mr. Musk, for that wonderful performance." The applause finally began to die down as Elon and Raphael left the stage. People immediately surrounded Elon, asking questions all at once. "Where did you learn to play like that? How long have you been playing? Why have you kept this talent secret?" Elon answered politely but briefly. Yes, he had taken lessons as a child. No, he didn't play professionally. Yes, he loved Debussy's music. What he didn't tell them was the whole story. He didn't explain about Mrs. Abrams in Pretoria, or the secret lessons his mother had arranged, or the music book he had carried with him from South Africa to Canada to America. He certainly didn't tell them that he still played sometimes, alone late at night, when the pressure of running his companies became too much. When the critics and the doubters and the endless problems felt overwhelming. When he needed to remember that there was beauty in the world, not just challenges to overcome. That was his private truth. A truth no one had known. Until now. While people continued to ask Elon questions, Rafael Montero stood at the edge of the crowd, watching thoughtfully. The Spanish pianist was famous for his strong opinions, for speaking his mind regardless of consequences. Yet now he seemed unusually quiet. As the event continued with the planned auction, Elon slipped away from the main hall. He needed a moment, alone. He found a small side room, probably normally used by musicians preparing to perform, and closed the door. He sat down in a chair and took a deep breath. His hands were shaking slightly, not from nervousness anymore, but from the emotional impact of playing in public after keeping music as his secret for so long. A soft knock came at the door. When Elon said, "Come in," Rafael Montero entered the room. "May I speak with you?" Rafael asked, his accent stronger now that he wasn't performing for an audience. Elon nodded, curious what the pianist wanted to say. Rafael sat in a chair opposite Elon. For a moment, he studied Elon's hands as if they were a puzzle he couldn't solve. "I owe you an apology," Rafael finally said. "I judged you unfairly." "You're not the first," Elon replied with a small smile. "Perhaps, but I should know better." Rafael leaned forward. "Your Debussy, it was not technically perfect. Your hand, position could use work. But you played with something many trained pianists lack. You played with soul." Elon said nothing, surprised by the unexpected compliment. "How long?" Rafael asked. "How long have you been playing?" "I started when I was 8 in South Africa." "And did you continue through adulthood? You must have practiced regularly to play, as you did tonight." Here, Elon hesitated. Should he reveal his secret? The piano in his office closet? The hotel keyboards he sometimes requested when traveling? Something about Rafael's genuine interest made Elon decide to tell the truth. "I never stopped completely," he admitted. "I don't play often, and never in public before tonight. But sometimes, when things get too intense with work." Rafael nodded, understanding. "Music becomes sanctuary." Exactly. But why keep it secret? Many business leaders advertise their hobbies, their art collections, their sports, their charitable interests. Why hide your music? Elon looked out the window at the New York skyline before answering. "Because it wasn't for them. It wasn't for my image or my companies or the media. It was just for me." Rafael seemed to understand this better than Elon expected. "Like a private garden in a public life." "Yes." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Rafael asked, "Who was your teacher? You have unusual technique, but it serves the music well." "A woman named Mrs. Abrams in Pretoria. She gave me lessons when my father didn't approve. She believed in me." "She taught you well," Rafael said. "The emotional connection to the music that cannot be taught. That comes from within." In that small room, something unexpected happened. The famous pianist and the tech billionaire began to talk about music like old friends. Rafael asked about Elon's favorite composers. Elon asked about what it felt like to play in the world's greatest concert halls. For 20 minutes, they forgot about the charity gala continuing without them. They forgot about their public images and professional lives. They were simply two people who loved music, sharing that connection. When they finally returned to the main hall, the auction was ending. The event had raised over $5 million for music education programs, a record amount. As Elon prepared to leave, several reporters approached him, microphones and cameras ready. "Mr. Musk, can you tell us about your piano playing?" "Have you been secretly training as a musician? Will you perform again publicly?" Elon was about to give short, careful answers when Rafael stepped forward. "If I may," the pianist said to the reporters, "what you witnessed tonight was not a publicity stunt or a hidden hobby. What you heard was the sound of a lifelong passion for music." Rafael turned to Elon with new respect in his eyes. "Mr. Musk has shown us that people are more complex than the boxes we put them in. that the same mind that can calculate rocket trajectories can also understand Debussy's dreams. The reporters scribbled frantically, capturing this unexpected praise from the usually critical pianist. As Elon finally walked toward the exit, people stopped him to shake his hand. Not because he was a famous CEO or a billionaire, but because his music had moved them. For the first time in years, they were seeing Elon Musk not as a business titan or a controversial figure, but simply as a human being who had shared something beautiful and personal. And that, more than the perfect performance or the standing ovation, was what made this night truly special. What no one knew. Not Raphael, not the reporters, not the audiences watching videos of his performance that were already spreading across the internet, was that this was only the beginning. Elon's musical secret was out, but his biggest secret about music was still waiting to be revealed. The day after the charity gala, Elon's piano performance was everywhere. Videos spread across social media faster than wildfire. News channels played clips between serious stories about politics and weather. Tech billionaire reveals hidden talent, read one headline. Musk shocks, world with surprise piano performance, said another. Elon ignored most of it. The morning after the gala, he was already back at work, reviewing rocket engine designs on his private jet, flying back to Texas. But his phone kept buzzing with messages. Friends he hadn't heard from in years. Business partners, celebrities, even classical musicians. One text message caught his attention. It was from Rafael Montero. Your playing continues to surprise me. I would like to talk more, if you have time. Elon smiled slightly. The pianist who had mocked him now wanted to talk. Life was strange sometimes. 3 days later, Elon was in his office at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. The massive building housed rocket parts and hundreds of engineers. The walls were covered with images of Mars and space. His assistant knocked on the door. Mr. Montero is here to see you. Elon looked up from his computer, surprised. He had agreed to talk with Raphael, but hadn't expected him to come in person. Raphael entered, looking slightly out of place among the rocket models and space equipment. He wore a simple black suit rather than the tuxedo from the gala. Thank you for seeing me, Raphael said, shaking Elon's hand. Would you like a tour? Elon offered. For the next hour, they walked through the SpaceX factory. Workers in blue uniforms looked up from rocket engines and computer screens, surprised, to see the famous pianist walking with their boss. Raphael asked thoughtful questions about the rockets, the engines, the plans for Mars. Elon explained everything clearly and with obvious passion. It's remarkable, Raphael said, as they looked at a massive rocket being assembled. You speak about rockets the same way you play piano, with emotion, not just technical knowledge. Elon nodded, appreciating that Raphael understood this connection. I criticized you unfairly, Raphael continued. I thought technology and art were opposites. But watching you speak about your work here, I see they can come from the same place, the desire to create something meaningful. They finished the tour in Elon's office, where Raphael noticed something unexpected in the corner, a small digital keyboard, similar to the one Elon had practiced on at the hotel. Raphael raised an eyebrow. You play here too? Elon hesitated, then nodded. Sometimes, late at night when everyone's gone. May I? Raphael gestured to the keyboard. When Elon nodded, Raphael sat down and played a short, beautiful piece, something that sounded like a lullaby. Mon Pou, Raphael explained, a Spanish composer. His music always reminds me of home. As the gentle notes faded, Raphael turned to Elon with curious eyes. There's something I still don't understand, Raphael said. Why did you accept my challenge? That night? You could have ignored me. You could have made a joke. Why risk playing? Elon was quiet for a moment, considering the question. Because music has always been part of something bigger for me, he finally said. Something I've never told anyone. What do you mean? Raphael asked. Elon walked to a locked cabinet behind his desk. I want to show you something, he said. Elon unlocked the cabinet and pulled out a blue folder labeled Project Harmony. Inside were drawings, notes, and blueprints, unlike anything Raphael had seen before. What is this? Raphael asked, confused. The real reason music has always mattered to me, Elon replied softly. He spread the papers across his desk. Some were technical, drawings of buildings with unusual shapes. Others showed sound waves and acoustic patterns. There were handwritten notes in Elon's small, precise writing. I don't understand, Raphael said, looking at the strange designs. Elon took a deep breath. When I was 10, my mother told me something I never forgot. We were looking at the stars one night in South Africa, and I was talking about how humans would someday live on Mars. Raphael nodded, listening. She said that when humans finally live on other planets, we'll need more than just oxygen and water and food. We'll need what makes us human. Art, music, beauty. Elon's eyes looked distant, remembering. She said the first Mars colony would need scientists and engineers, yes, but it would also need musicians and artists and poets. Elon pointed to one of the blueprints, a dome-shaped building with unusual angles and surfaces. This is a concert hall designed for Mars. Raphael's eyes widened in shock. A concert hall? On Mars? The acoustics are different there. The atmosphere is thinner. Sound travels differently. I've been working on this design for years, consulting with acoustic engineers without telling them what it was really for. Raphael picked up one of the drawings, studying it with new understanding. This is why you learned piano as a child? Because of Mars? Not exactly, Elon said. I loved music for itself. But as I got older, my mother's words stayed with me. Music and space became connected. In my mind, both were about exploring something greater than ourselves. Elon walked to the window. Outside, workers were assembling parts for rockets that would someday go to the Red Planet. Everyone thinks I want to go to Mars just for the technical challenge, or to make humans a multi-planetary species. That's part of it, of course. But I also want to bring what makes us human. Our music. Our art. Raphael was silent for a moment, trying to process this unexpected revelation. So all these years, Raphael finally said, while building your companies, sending rockets to space, developing electric cars, you were also secretly planning a concert hall on Mars? The first one, Elon nodded. Not the last. He pulled out another blueprint, more detailed than the others, with notes about materials that could withstand the Martian environment while providing perfect acoustics. The Harmony Dome, Elon said. That's what I call it. In the first permanent Mars base, a place where the first Mars colonists can experience music in a new world. Raphael shook his head in amazement, just when he thought Elon Musk couldn't surprise him anymore. Why are you showing me this? Raphael asked. You've kept it secret all these years. Elon looked directly at Raphael. Because I want to ask you something. Something I've never asked anyone before. Raphael waited. When we establish the first base on Mars, when the Harmony Dome is built, I want you to be the first pianist to play there. Raphael's mouth fell open. Me? After how I treated you at the gala? Especially after that, Elon smiled. because you understand that music isn't just entertainment. It's essential. It's part of being human. Raphael touched the blueprints gently, as if they might disappear. You're serious about this? Completely serious. The first human performance on another planet. It would change how people think about space exploration. Show them. It's not just about science and survival. Raphael tried to imagine it. Playing piano in a dome on the red surface of Mars, millions of miles from Earth. It seemed impossible. And yet, looking at Elon's face, at the detailed plans, at the rockets being built outside the window, perhaps not impossible after all. How soon? Raphael asked quietly. 10 years, maybe less. Raphael's mind raced with questions. What piece would be appropriate for such a historic moment? How would the Martian gravity affect his playing? What would it sound like? Before you answer, Elon said, gathering the blueprints, there's one more thing you should see. He led Raphael down a long hallway to a small room that looked like a private study. Inside was a beautiful grand piano. Not a keyboard or an upright, but a concert-quality instrument that seemed out of place among the rocket models and space technology. Next to the piano hung a framed sheet of music, Clair de Lune, with notes in the margins written in faded ink. Mrs. Abrams's copy. I practice here sometimes, Elon said, imagining how music will sound on Mars. Raphael walked to the piano and pressed a key gently. The note rang clear and true. So, Elon said, will you be the first pianist on Mars? Raphael looked at the man standing before him, not the billionaire CEO or the controversial social media figure that the public knew, but the boy from South Africa who had never stopped dreaming about taking human art to the stars. Yes, Raphael said simply. It would be the greatest honor of my life. As they shook hands, both men understood that they had just made history. Not the history that had already happened when Elon played at Carnegie Hall, but the history that was yet to come, when human music would reach across the stars to a new world. A promise formed on that day. A promise of music beyond Earth. A promise that when humans finally reached Mars, we would bring not just our science and technology, but our deepest expressions of beauty and humanity. A promise that would change everything. That was the end of Elon Musk and Rafael Montero's incredible journey. I hope you enjoyed this tale of unexpected talent and surprising connections. Where are you listening from? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more interesting content just like this. New videos every week that will surprise and inspire you. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. Spreading content like this helps remind us all that people are often more than they appear to be, and that kindness and understanding can bridge even the widest gaps. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.